It cannot be by voice vote, neither can it be by way of signatures, unless, of course, you have enough two-thirds by signature. So what I would suggest is that you bring the application, the formal motion of notice.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives had last week assured lawmakers that the House would begin debate to override Mr. President this week, but that did not happen. It was apparent the leadership of the House saw this coming.
Resolved to 1. In bold section 58.5 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, with respect to the bill to an act to amend the Electoral Act 2022, that is amendment of section 84A thereof to allow certain delegates to participate in the political party congress and convention. 2. Communicate the position of the House of Representatives to the Senate for concurrence. I beg to move.
Wish to kindly beg you to step down your motion because that's not the right procedure to proceed on this particular matter.
Representative Ben Igbakpa, despite his argument, was forced to step down the motion.
I'm not doing it because it's against anybody. It's a constitutional order, it's a rule of law, and I think it is why we are here. But if you say I will step it down right away so that we can follow up with the committee. Thank you very much.
Briefing journalists after plenary, the lawmaker explained that he was surprised that the House made a U-turn after reaching a decision with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Bajabiamila.
Because I am comfortable or satisfied with the chair's explanation, but he is the chair and the chair has ruled, that's why. The Speaker said we can't do it by voice vote, it has to be done by our electronic voting system. So members should be around, and I know a lot of members came to the chambers today in preparation for this exercise, but it was aborted.
Also reacting to the issue is a member from Plateau State and the Chairman House Committee on Navy, Honorable Yusuf Gagdi. He explained that the House followed a due process which required a two-thirds majority to override the President. This is what he has to say.
Political will on the part of the leadership and the National Assembly to allow those debates. But again, what are the contestations? What are the constraints attributed to the process of overriding Mr. President? I think it is what Mr. Speaker last week called attention of the motion mover to it. We need to ensure what is worth doing well. Overriding Mr. President is a constitutional thing. The process that will lead to overriding him must not be seen to be corrupt or to be defective. You need to satisfy all the process that will lead you to overriding him. You need two-thirds majority, you need 240 members to vote yes.
The bone of contention was to allow statutory delegates vote at party congresses and elections, and if not addressed, would disenfranchise many from voting going forward. From the National Assembly, Grace Ike, Silverbird News 24.
Welcome back, and quite a break, but it's always great to have everyone join in on the News Hub, your #1 breakfast show. Remember, you can always watch this on Facebook. We're hitting you live on Facebook. Just search Silverbird News 24. You can watch on TV, Silverbird TV or Silverbird News 24. So we have a big discussion. We're going to talk about the fuel situation. We'll get to that after this discussion around politics, where the big debate in the National Assembly yesterday had to do with Section 84. And just like Sean and I were discussing just off the camera, it's capped a lot of people. The aftermath of the president not amending that amended Electoral Act to suit the wishes of the National Assembly has meant many of them wouldn't be returning to the Assembly. But they sought to see if they could override the president's veto, but that also hasn't happened. Ben Igbakpa, it's a pleasure to have you join us. He's a member of the Federal House of Representatives. Great to have you, Ben Igbakpa.
Thank you very much, Agogo.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And great work you do in the House there. But so first and foremost, what exactly did the House intend to do yesterday and eventually did not work out?
Well, quickly to bring you to speed, we all understood what transpired during the primaries, and the leadership recruitment process of initial start from the primaries. And on Wednesday last week, I stood up on the point of order, constitutional point of order, in regards to Order 58 of the Constitution, and draw the attention of the House to Section 4 of the Constitution that gave us the powers to make laws. And after that, I took them to 58 and reminded them that on the 11th of May, there was an emergency city where we made amendments to Section 84.8 of the Electoral Act 2022 to include statutory delegates. And somehow it was transmitted to Mr. President on the 12th. I expected Mr. President to sign, but he did not sign. He said he traveled to Dubai and later Spain. And we believe that in a responsive and responsible leadership, the issue of Nigeria should come first. We all swore allegiance to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But after that, all the parties went into the primaries with the tension of not wanting to make any mistake, and that threw up a lot of issues in the primaries. Ad hoc delegates deciding who should be a candidate, and in their size, it became easy for money bags to buy them, and for people that can unleash threat to get them. Some were camped. If we have the number that we're supposed to have, people cannot count them or give them, just bribe them, and still after some, even after collecting money, they still wait for their owners, because they are delegate owners. So with that in mind, I came and raised that order that since it's more than 30 days now, as per Section 84 and 58 of the Constitution, that if the president did not sign after 30 days or communicate his reason for withholding assent, the House and the Senate can actually pass the bill by 2/3 majority of members, and it becomes law without the assent of the president. So when I brought that up, Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, somebody who has exhibited a lot of leadership and capacity, directed that we cannot just do it by voice vote or by collecting signatures, unless I want to just collect that first. But the right thing to do is to inform the House via a motion on notice and bring it up. And I did that the next day, and yesterday the motion was listed. I took the motion, but unfortunately he was not on seat, and the deputy speaker, which is normal, was the one presiding. A presiding officer is a presiding officer. So he came, and when I finished reading, he said that the process is wrong, that I'm not supposed to come under motion, that I'm supposed to come either as a bill or I should liaise with the Rules and Business Committee. And my motion actually, it has only two resolutions. One, to activate Section 58.5 of the Constitution and to communicate our decision to Senate. The moment, if he had allowed the motion to go through, that resolution automatically activates the Rules and Business Committee to know that the next thing to do is to bring the bill. He's supposed to direct from the chair, because the moment you activate Section 58.5, it means that you want to take the bill for a second reading with a view to passing it and overriding the president's veto. That is it. But like I said in a place yesterday, our rule order 10 rule 2 says that the decision of the chair is final. It's not subject to review or any amendment. So I let it be, but I have to make it known that whatever I am doing that yesterday was what Mr. Speaker directed me to do. But if that is not still correct, then there's a miscommunication somewhere. But as a House, I believe members are very eager to get this on, because we can't be talking about proper leadership without looking at the leadership recruitment process in this country. Yeah. Nigerians are tired. Nigerians are crying. People in government are now being looked upon as scorned. Every moment you say you are a member of the House of Reps or Senate, people, the next thing they look at you, oh, these are now them be this, if I want to use our local parlance. So we want to do it such a way that people should have integrity, where we're able to perform as required by the people.
Well, Honorable,
So that's where we are.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Igbakpa. To many people, we want to get to the nitty-gritty of it. We knew then that the beginning of this was signaled by the refusal of the National Assembly to really, in a sense, to really, agree with the executive on the need to expunge the Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act, which, of course, we knew what happened. The presidency tried to really get that off. There was actually an injunction that really removed that, but you said no. Would you say this is a way of getting back to the National Assembly for your failure to reason with the executive on the need to take a look at subsection 12 of the 84th section of the Electoral Act, and then that's why you have to suffer, some would say, with coping with the subsection 8 of the same clause? Is that what you think is playing out, or there are other reasons why you think the president is withholding assent to this?
Well, first, the Constitution gave us the powers to make law. Section 4 of the Constitution gave us the power of lawmaking. In our case, the bicameral legislature, the Senate and the House of Representatives. It didn't give we're not sharing that authority with the executive arm, because Section 5 is clear on their responsibility. They are to implement and execute the law we are turning out, and Mr. President is supposed to sign. So if Mr. President is saying because he's interested in a particular clause of a law and the Parliament refused, I don't see anything wrong in it. That I believe is very parochial for somebody or Mr. President to say that is why I wouldn't want to sign, because we are talking about the people. We are the people. We passed this law. We did public hearing. We had the vibes for the people. We know the pulse of what the people are saying. The people don't want anybody in office to be running election and remain in that office. That will give that person undue advantage over somebody that is not in any office. You can't be in an office, a minister, for instance, and you are running for a House of Reps, or you're running for governor, or you're running for Senate. You have undue advantage. You can go anywhere with your official regalia and get undue attention and support. So that is why we felt if you want to contest election and you're on appointment, you have to resign and be ordinary like other people that are contesting with you. I think that's fair enough. I just don't want to believe, because I've not had any official communication on that the president refused to sign because we refused to expunge Section 8412. That I think is not fair. It's not fair to all. According to our Rotary people, it's the four-way test. It's not fair to all concerned, because people why should we remove the person that part that somebody in office can now contest and the other person is not in office? That is undue advantage, and I think we stand by our position. Then for Mr. President not to sign, he slept on his right as a president to assent to that bill, and we believe that bill, as it is today, is supposed to be a law that is operational. We have done the first round of recruitment process, and it has come and gone. But there are other elections that will even come before 2023. We don't know. There might be other staggered elections. So this issue of delegates will come. That is why, and it's past 30 days. That is why we said, okay, let us correct this norm. Let us cure whatever defect that is there, so that other elections will not suffer the same fate. Our recruitment process is wrong. The 2023-2027 election season has already started on a very wrong note. And I pray that the people that have been thrown up by these primaries should be able to understand the yearning and aspirations of Nigerians and give them what is expected. We don't want to talk about what is happening in the country now. I should not bore you with that, because everybody knows the country is not where it should be. We are at the crossroad of the nation. And the issue is to start from the recruitment process, where we have people that actually have the thinking of the people that can think along with Nigerians, people that should do what is right for Nigerians. It is not just money bags. Now elections are being won by money bags. Now we have candidates that are all proud. What they can be proud of is not their pedigree, but money. So we should be careful as a country. And Mr. President, as the father of the nation as it is today, should be responsive and responsible enough to look at what the parliament is doing.
Right,
there was a time during the COVID era, our dear Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, brought an emergency bill to see how we can do, what is it called, to cushion the effect. That bill never saw the light of day. That is something that's supposed to pay Nigerians certain amount for some time, even for 3 months. That bill didn't see the light of day. So we have a lot of bills that are lying there in the president's office, no communication, nothing is happening. He sits on them, he sleeps on them, and we are here as a parliament. At the end of the day, we will leave. But I tell Nigerians, we have 2 bills, the 2 laws that I want to be remembered for as being part of the people that passed it. The PIB, which is not PIA, and this Electoral Act Amendment. If we can't do them well before we leave, then we have done nothing. I believe they are progressive laws that should be supported by all Nigerians. Primaries has come and gone, but there are other primaries that are coming. Should we sit down? Should we sleep on our rights? Should we look at the other side? Because we are party men, and we should respect party and forget the Constitution. I never swore to uphold by the Constitution of any party. I swore to uphold by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I'll do what is good for Nigerians before I leave.
So what we're looking at here, so when we asked you earlier, you said the Deputy Speaker had said it was a procedural error. So one, will you be resubmitting this now as a motion? That's one, as a bill rather. And then 2, when you look at the aftermath, especially the consequences of the president's action, has now meant that the primaries have happened in a way which has never happened before, and the consequences are there for all to see. But then there are people who have argued that this has always been there. Just the fact we didn't have all of those statutory delegates take part in the exercise just meant that it's now more visible for us to see the monetization of the process, and it really doesn't make any difference. What's your reaction to that also?
Well, for the return of the process, yes, the rules of business automatically they are now aware. They will bring it back so that we can not just bring it back. The leadership should actually do a proper communication so that members can be around, because it demands a 2/3 majority so that people can actually be around. Our electronic voting system we use for the constitutional amendment, thank God, is very much alive and running. So that is the process we go, and it has not ended at all. That will continue. Then again, I think the challenge is it has thrown up is there are 2 challenges here. 2 challenges. One is throwing up people that does not really represent the interests of the people, because the popular persons that can win election, the popular person that the people wanted don't get the ticket. And the other side, the turnover, it has always been an issue. Legislative turnover in Nigeria, people go, a lot of new persons come, they start learning afresh, and that experience, some of these members are lost. So those are things. It is at the end of the day, it is Nigeria that suffers for it.
Honorable Igbakpa, it will take 2/3 of the both chambers to get to veto any bill that's not assented to by the president. You think the present-day National Assembly is capable of doing this?
We just finished voting on the constitution amendment. We got 240 in some of the instances. We got less than 240, including those that affected women that we are trying to reconsider. So it is very possible. That's why I said that in doing it, it has to be properly publicized so that members can be available to know that we want to do something serious. Overriding the president is not really a big deal. People seem to be looking at it as if it's like quarreling with the president or reducing the ego of the president. No, he didn't do his job. And the Constitution, the crafters of the Constitution deem it necessary. So if in a situation like this, this is what should be done. Please, before I continue, that there is a P before the A. My name is Igbakpa, not Igbakpa. There's a P before the A. So the people should know that nobody's fighting Mr. President. It's no confrontation. It's nothing. It's not quarrel at all. It's not going to affect anybody adversely is for the good of the country and our electoral system. Because let me tell you, if a bad electoral system is worse than Boko Haram, because it throws up people that will destroy the country. It throws up leaders that does not have the interest of the people. So we must be sure of our electoral process. We must be sure that whatever we are doing is throwing up people that we wanted. These ad hoc delegates, they don't even know who is who. They've not been working with us. They don't know your pedigree. There is a set of persons you've been working with that understand that have been managing the party. There's even a problem. There's disquiet among the statutory delegates, working committees of these political parties, because these are people that have been working over the years, and now you are not even giving them the opportunity to decide who should be their candidate.
Honorable Igbakpa, okay, let's just see. For instance, you mentioned just a while ago that this bill, if it has to pass, be able to be vetoed by both chambers successfully, then you must have to sell its merits to members so that they can attend and be willing to vote. And that could bring me to a question that many Nigerians ask, because I know that a lot of times proceedings at the plenary are beamed live on the national TV. We see it, and sometimes we also cover, so to speak. Many Nigerians are wondering why the attendance, especially at the Green Chambers, also at the Red Chambers, but I know you can speak for the Green Chamber, seems to be lean most of the times. They could understand when there was COVID-19 restrictions, but how do we get people to vote and support the bill that you're trying to veto if most of the times we don't see the representatives present during plenary?
Well, Section 84(8) of the Electoral Acts affects everybody. It affected all of us, both those that were able to get their tickets, those that could not get their ticket, those that have to fight the battle of their life to get their ticket. So just the way we came back to do the amendment of on the 11th of May, we were all present. The hall was full. And once it is listed and people informed that there is going to be a repassage of that same act, which means activating Section 58(5) of the Constitution, I'm sure they will come. Yesterday, you can see a lot of members came yesterday, because definitely it would have ended yesterday. We would have just taken it and maybe fixed a date for the voting, and members will come. I am very, very sure that members are interested. They have done their work well. They have looked at it and said, we have tried. Yes, the law can be amended some other time, but as it is, we have done a great job, and there's need for us to stabilize this at this time, get it passed, and get done with it so that we can face other things.
Right, right. So, they say 2020 is hindsight, and when you think about this National Assembly, this 9th Assembly, that's the House of Representatives and the Senate, and the relationship the leadership has had with the executive, there was a lot of concern about comments made by the leadership about how they would work with the executive, and people had said they could just end up being a rubber stamp. And you're the cusp of the end of the 9th Assembly. Perhaps you'd be thinking how Nigerians will judge this assembly and how it's carried out its activities. You've talked about two important bills for you. Interestingly, one, which is the PIA, has been pushed down the road for 18 months by the president in his execution, and then the other is what we're looking at now. You think people will be fair and say that this assembly did exactly what it was supposed to do?
By the special grace of God, we're doing what we're supposed to do. I am somebody that believes it is not the number of friction that the parliament have with the executive that shows that you're working. It is not the number of fight that will fight the executive. Government is supposed to be complementary and collaborative in activities. But there are times we cannot always agree. Just like in this case, I know the president will not want this be vetoed. Or again, he could be happy to say, okay, I did not sign it, let them go and do it. And if we do it, we'll be happy. Yes, you people have done it, let it remain. So it's just for us to do our bit. And I must tell you, we're doing quite a lot. But the executive on most time has slowed us down, because they are a lot. It shouldn't be a recurrent decimal that every time we pass one bill, the executive send it back, they want their input, they want it done their own way. I think it's not healthy. Once in a while, let us go into the Constitution and interpret it. It's democracy. It's the rule of law. It's not an affront on anybody. We're not fighting anybody. It's not being rude about it or not respecting the office of the president. The office of the president is a revered office, and we respect it, but the Constitution gives us the powers to do what we are doing. And I believe my colleagues are in tune with what I am saying.
Honorable Igbakpa, let me play the devil's advocate. I like to do that once in a while. What if it comes down to a situation where you have to pass the Section 84, subsection 12, for you to get Section 84, subsection 8 assented to? What would you do?
No, we will not, because Nigerians it is Nigerians that we are listening to. We are not listening to the executive. Nigerians are saying that anybody that wants to contest election should resign so that the person don't get undue advantage over the other person. And we are with the people.
Okay,
it will not come to that.
All right, we'll have to leave it at that. It's a pleasure having spoken with you, Ben Igbakpa, who represent Ethiopia, East and West in Delta State. Thank you very much for joining us on News Hub.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, so we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll turn our attention to what is going on, fuel scarcity, which is biting hard for millions of Nigerians in major cities across the country. Please stay with us on News Hub.